Welcome to Graceland Diabetes Foundation, an international diabetes educators, reaching out to people in United Kingdom, Africa and the world at large. In our previous episode, we talked about the symptoms of each type of diabetes, the factors that trigger diabetes and who is at risk. In today's episode, we shall be discussing about insulin, type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Our instructor for today is Mr. David Okeregbe, Lagos State National Coordinator, Graceland Diabetes Foundation. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you. I am pleased to be here today. In continuation of our topic on diabetes, I shall be talking on insulin as it affects type 1 and type 2 diabetes.
Sir, what is insulin?
Insulin is a hormone which plays a key role in the regulation of blood glucose levels. A lack of insulin, or an inability to adequately respond to insulin, can each lead to the development of the symptoms of diabetes.
What are the role of insulin in the body?
Insulin is a hormone which plays a number of roles in the body's metabolism. Insulin also regulates how the body uses and stores glucose and fat. Many of the body's cells rely on insulin to take glucose from the blood for energy.
What other functions does insulin play in the body?
Insulin helps control blood glucose levels by signaling the liver, muscle and fat cells to take in glucose from the blood. Insulin therefore helps cells to take in glucose to be used for energy.
Does that mean insulin is very useful to the body system?
You are absolutely correct. If the body has sufficient energy, insulin signals the liver to take up glucose and store it as glycogen. The liver can store up to around 5% of its mass as glycogen. Some cells in the body can take glucose from the blood without insulin, but most cells do require insulin to be present.
How does insulin affect type 1 diabetes?
In type 1 diabetes, the body produces insufficient insulin to regulate blood glucose levels. Without the presence of insulin, many of the body's cells cannot take glucose from the blood and therefore the body uses other sources of energy. Ketones are produced by the liver as an alternative source of energy. However, high levels of the ketones can lead to a dangerous condition called ketoacidosis.
Does that mean people with type 1 diabetes will need artificial insulin?
Yes. People with type 1 diabetes will need to inject insulin to compensate for the body's lack of insulin.
How then does insulin affect type 2 diabetes patients?
Type 2 diabetes is characterized by the body not responding effectively to insulin. This is termed insulin resistance. As a result, the body is less able to take up glucose from the blood.
So how does the body produces insulin in this stage?
In the earlier stages of type 2 diabetes, the body responds by producing more insulin than it would normally need to. If type 2 diabetes develops over a number of years, the extra demands on the pancreas to produce insulin can lead to a loss of insulin-producing cells, known as pancreatic beta cells, as they wear out.
Does type 2 diabetes patients also need to inject insulin?
Depending on their level of insulin resistance. People with type 2 diabetes may also need to take insulin injections to manage the blood sugar levels.
What other uses does insulin have to play in the body?
As well as being involved in the regulation of blood glucose, insulin is also involved in how fat is used by the body. When the liver has taken up its capacity of glycogen, insulin signals fat cells to take up glucose to be stored as triglycerides. An additional effect of insulin is in inhibiting the breakdown of fats.
I have learnt a lot from your teachings. And I must confess, you are doing a nice work for humanity.
Kudos to Graceland Diabetes Foundation. Let me add this. People with type 1 diabetes and a proportion of people with type 2 diabetes will need to take exogenous insulin. That's insulin that is not produced by one's own body. Insulin is usually injected but can also be delivered by an insulin pump which continually infuses insulin through the day and night.
Wow.
Synthetic insulin is made in laboratories, and is the most commonly prescribed form of insulin, for medication purposes. Non-synthetic animal insulin is also available in the UK if preferred.
You have done well, sir. My regards to Graceland Diabetes Foundation and the team. That will be all for today. We shall discuss more in our upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.